Hello everybody, this is Gareth Goon Speaks back here with another video. I'd like you to hit the subscribe bar, give me a thumbs up if you like the video, or hit the notification bell to be notified when I post my next post. Or otherwise you can donate to my ministry and the charities that I support at garethgoon3@gmail.com on PayPal. Or if you want, you can look me up on YouTube and scroll down to the very bottom where you get to the created playlists, and you can watch all the videos that I watch on a daily basis. This one here is 30,000 Trojan horses. Europe and Britain face Muslim domination and escalating threat of civil war. A Muslim call to prayer marked the 100-year anniversary of the opening of the Grand Mosque of Paris. Once the only official mosque in all of France, there are now almost 3,000, with more than 30,000 mosques across the European Union, including one of the newest, the Grand Mosque in Strasbourg. Although Muslims remain a small percentage of the population in the European Union and the United Kingdom, their numbers have grown to over 50 million, making Islam the fastest growing religion there. A multicultural nightmare. In the years after 9/11, political leaders began welcoming large numbers of Muslims into Europe, thinking it would create harmonious multicultural societies. It hasn't worked out that way. Many European cities now have Muslim no-go zones, areas too dangerous for police to enter. Dutch Asylum Minister Bart van der Brink cancelled a visit to an asylum centre last week because it was deemed a security risk. There's been a rape epidemic in some nations that statistics have tied to migrant men, and in Britain social unrest over what's being called two-tier policing, preferential treatment for Muslims by police, has led to predictions of civil war. Australian political scientist Dr. Ralph Schohamer said we already have these signals. The suburbs of Paris, Malmo in Sweden, in Berlin, Manchester, Liverpool, central parts of East London, where parts are controlled by Muslim gangs. Now there's this attempt to kind of gloss it over and say, oh no, these are just the birthing pains of a new great multicultural society. But I don't think that's what it is. We have public protests in the UK and Germany where young men are out in the streets saying, we want the caliphate. New dangers for women and Jews. The new multicultural societies in Europe and Britain have made it dangerous to be a woman or a Jew. In Brussels, on the 1-year anniversary of the October 7th massacre, pro-Hamas demonstrators joined in a public prayer for Allah to burn the Jews. My city, Brussels, looks more and more like Gaza, says Joel Rubenfeld with the Belgian League Against Anti-Semitism. It's just crazy. It's a tsunami of anti-Semitism. And Jewish people I speak with in Belgium, they are themselves, where they ask themselves, where will we go? Polls show most of Britain's Jews are considering leaving because of growing anti-Semitic violence. The head of the Britain's campaign against anti-Semitism Gideon Falter told us October 7th has simply metastasized out of control. We have rampant Islamists and left extremism in the UK, and perhaps more worrying still, we have authorities which are failing to do anything about it, or if they are acting, it's only acting to appease the extremists. So for a lot of British Jews now, we're starting to question our future here. Britain is also reeling from a young grooming gang scandal in which primarily Pakistani Muslim men raped and trafficked hundreds of thousands of white English girls over more than 10 years, while police and officials looked the other way. Britain's grooming gang scandal. What CBN News warned you about 8 years ago. And in the official Christian nation, Christians find themselves as second-class citizens because of a system that favours Islam. King Charles becomes the defender of Islam. King Charles recently changed his title in an official document from Defender of the Christian Faith to Protector of the Space for Faith within the multi-faith nation. It means he will now also defend Islam. In an interview with CBN News, Dr. Gavin Ashenden, a pastor in the court of Queen Elizabeth II, accused Charles of breaking his coronation oath and says the late Queen, who was a devout Christian, would consider Charles' reign a disaster. I don't think she'd be very impressed by Charles downgrading Christianity to one of a smorgasbord of faiths. Ashenden said we'd need somebody who will protect the faith. We really ought to be able to stand in the public space and tell people what the Bible says or what the church teaches. We'd like to introduce people to Jesus, Yeshua, but to be told that we can't by the police, while at the same time Muslims are free to talk about Muhammad or even do violence in Muhammad's name, is a real problem. It's hard not to feel betrayed when the stakes are so high. Former Muslim and Christian television host Brother Rashid says while Islamic doctrine does not allow for Christian king like Charles to protect it, Muslims see this as another sign Islam will dominate one day. The Muslims dream of conquering Europe and America. While Muslims are happy that Europeans are opening the doors for Islam, and that's what they want. Brother Rashid told us, I grew up as a Muslim and we always dreamed that one day we will conquer Rome, we will conquer Europe, we will conquer America, and we will subdue them, and Islam will be the victorious religion. Brother Rashid adds that in Islam, mosques in Christian nations are seen as Muslim territory and act as forward military bases. He calls them Trojan horses, providing a new perspective in those 30,000 mosques across the European Union, and they want to build it there so they can claim it for Islam, he said. Both Brother Rashid and Dr. Scholhammer believe it may already be too late for the Western world in Europe and the United Kingdom. Shalom.